Welcome everyone. We are here for another volunteer spotlight. Today I'm joined by Joyce, who has graciously offered to be interviewed. Let's just get started.
Okay.
Joyce, where are you from?
Hi, my name is Joyce, and I'm currently from Philadelphia. I've lived here most of my life, for the exception of maybe 4 years. I moved to North Carolina, but I felt there's no place like home, so I decided to come back to Philly.
Great. And how long have you been with Experience Corps?
I'm going on my 4th year. My first year, I was a tutor at Alcorn School. Then from there, I went to the Girard School. I was there as a team leader for 2 years. And this year, I'm going on my 4th year now. I will be a site coordinator at Belmont Charter.
Great. And what made you start with Experience Corps?
Well, after retiring, I decided I was going to sit home for maybe a year and a half. But before a year and a half, I started getting antsy and bored, and I just knew I wanted to do something else in my life. So my daughter, who was at that time a 3rd grade teacher at the Alcorn School, called me one day. She says, Mom, there's a lot of senior citizens here, and they seem to be working with the students. So I asked her to get as much information as she could, and I look into it. So she did on a Wednesday. I called them on a Thursday. Friday morning, I was invited to an information session, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
Yeah, great. And what is your favorite part about volunteering with Experience Corps?
My favorite part, I guess, seeing the smile on the students' faces and seeing how happy they are when they can get from point A to point B, or plainly just being able to read a page from a book when they have been struggling for a while, but just to see that they have made a change in their lives, and I have made a difference in someone's life. That's the greatest part.
Yeah. And then do you have any good stories from your time volunteering? Again, without mentioning student names.
Yes. There was one particular student, and he was a kindergartner. And this particular boy was very, very, very shy. And he wouldn't even speak to the teacher the majority of the time. So, of course, when I would walk into the classroom, my students would just start jumping up, pick me, pick me, pick me. And I would look at him, and I knew he wanted to say something to me, but he was too shy to say anything. So this went on for a little while, but I continued working with him. Every now and then he would talk to me. He would start saying words. And this one particular day, classroom, and of course the kids were jumping up, pick me, pick me. They always wanted to be the first one to be picked for me to tutor. And at this particular time, I saw his little hand try to go up, and I knew from and remembering how shy I was as a young girl, I figured this was the same thing he was experiencing. So when I saw his little hand, I said, I'm going to pick him. So I said, you come on, you can go with me, because we always sat out in the hall. And from that day on, this little guy, it was like when I walked in the room, his whole face lit up, his whole demeanor changed. And from then on, this little boy started talking. He was able to start remembering his sight words, and we got around to actually reading maybe 2 pages. And for him, according to his teacher, that was a giant step for him.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how has volunteering with Experience Corps been beneficial to you?
Oh, it's been very beneficial. besides taking away my boredom for about 3 days a week when I was tutoring. And then I wanted something that would keep my cognition in shape also. You know, I just didn't want to just sit home, not do anything, go from the door to the chair, walk to the kitchen, walk to the door. It's also keeping me sharp as well. And then going from tutoring to a team leader, as a team leader gave me more work to do. It kept me busy, kept me on point, kept my brain sharp. So it helps me also.
Yeah. And then what's your relationship with the Experience Corps community, be it other volunteers or staff? And then again, don't use any volunteer names.
Okay, I feel that my relationship with all of them was very, very good, with my tutors, with the EC staff. I got along with them quite well. It got to the point where one of my tutors, she and I became very close because she didn't have much family. And my whole family, as a matter of fact, became very familiar with her. My daughters got to the point where they would call her auntie. We got so close where we took a trip together. Last year, as a matter of fact, we went on an 8-day cruise together, and the relationship grew really, really strong. But unfortunately, this year with the COVID and everything, we were out one day. We were socially distanced with our mask on, and we were supposed to meet the next morning. And when I didn't get a phone call from her, I began to get worried. And I called her house, and unfortunately, her granddaughter told me she had passed in her sleep that night. So that's a friendship that I'll always cherish. I still miss her dearly. But overall, my relationship with the Experience Corps staff is very good.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you did have that positive relationship.
Yeah.
And then what do you think about tutoring virtually this upcoming year?
I'm kind of nervous, I'll be honest. It's going to be a challenge, but I like new adventure, so I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to put my best foot forward and make a go of it. I think I'll do a great job along with my other tutors.
Yeah. And then would you recommend volunteering with the Experience Corps for other people who are over 50 and looking for something to do?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm pushing it with other acquaintances and friends, and I'm trying to get them to call and sign up for it. But I honestly believe it should be something that's a passion from the heart. And I also believe that they should care dearly for the students as well, because that plays a big role in it.
Yeah, that's great. So before we move on to some questions about you, Experience Corps?
Well, I'm glad that my daughter got the information for me. I am glad that I took the step to call in and go in for the information session. I have no regrets at all. I love what I do. I look forward to doing it, and I'm just glad. It's a good experience.
We're glad you made the call too. All right, so just some questions about you. What do you like to do in your free time?
Oh, in my free time, anyone would tell you, we just travel. My husband and I have raised all of our kids. We were foster parents for about 23 kids. They're all grown. We adopted 4 of the foster kids, in addition to the 4 biological kids I have. So now that everybody is grown, everyone has gone to college. My husband and I are empty nesters, So we spend most of our time traveling.
Wow, that's great. And where's your favorite place to go or visit in Philadelphia?
I could say there's a lot, but I guess one of the most favorite is just to um, drive down to Penn's Landing Park, walk around Penn's Landing, sit and just people watch, eat uh, on any
Yeah.
given evening.
Yeah. And then now in this COVID world, have you discovered any good socially distant activities or stuff that you like to do in the COVID world?
Well, it's sometimes it becomes hard and it becomes disheartening as well. I try to be very, very cautious because I have underlying medical conditions. So a lot of times I just choose to stay home. But when I do decide to venture out, I'll go and visit with my daughter and my grandkids who live in Atlanta.
Okay, great. Those are all the questions I have for you, Joyce. Big thank you to for doing this interview. We think you're a great person to have in our program. So thanks.
Okay, thank you for having me.